What a game that was. But before we get to my review of Chelsea 4, Man City 4, make sure you're liking, commenting and subscribing to the Kweku Afari YouTube channel. I massively appreciate it. But let's get into it. An incredible game. For the second time in a matter of 6 days, Chelsea have scored 4 goals. Unfortunately, on this occasion for Chelsea fans, we couldn't secure all 3 points. But the late Cole Palmer penalty against his former side, against a side that he grew up supporting, an academy and players that he knows very, very well, Chelsea can feel very proud of the point they achieved against the best team in the world, in my opinion, and most people's opinions, in Man City. A team full of players that can hurt you. A team with Erling Haaland up front who's just, again, running away with the goal scoring or the golden boot this season. And Chelsea equipped themselves very well, went toe-to-toe with Man City, and on the face of it, a point that's probably a fair result for both teams. I'm going to go through it step by step. Like I said, there's a lot that happened. I've got my laptop here full of notes, and I'll let you know my feelings, thoughts, and notions on what was another thrilling game involving Chelsea Football Club. And this season, we've become the entertainers, really. If you think about, like I said, the game against Arsenal, a game in which we let a 2-goal lead slip, the game against Spurs earlier this week, and then the game against Man City, breathless occasions, and Chelsea yet again proving that when they're playing against a team that doesn't sit deep and doesn't provide a low block, Chelsea can go toe-to-toe with anybody and can equip themselves against the best teams in this country. And hopefully that sets us up for after the international break, where we've got, again, some difficult fixtures, but after watching that game against Man City, who I said are one of the best teams in the world, I am very, very happy as a Chelsea fan with Mauricio Pochettino and the way that he set up this Chelsea side. But let's get into it. Chelsea fall behind to a harsh penalty. Cucurella judged to pull Haaland down at the back post. Again, what's the phrase? Is it 6 of one, half a dozen of the other? I think that the decision could have gone either way. I do want to say one thing. A breath of fresh air, a game that wasn't tainted by VAR. There are some decisions that could have gone either way, but overall, as a football fan watching this game, I was happy with the way that Anthony Taylor refereed it, and that takes a lot for me to say. We all know Anthony Taylor's history with Chelsea has not given us favourable decisions in the past, but on this occasion, I think he refereed the game very, very well, let the game play and flow, and despite the fact that you could maybe say that for this Haaland penalty, Doku shoves Reece James shoves Caicedo into Reece James, which puts them off. The ball eventually spills out, it comes in via a cross, and Haaland gets pulled down by Cucurella on the back post. There were a couple of incidents I think went against Chelsea in that phase of play, but the referee gave a penalty and Haaland put it away. He's always going to put it away, isn't he? Robert Sanchez is a goalkeeper that I think has been much maligned this season. I've made a video saying that he's not that guy, but I think he had a very good game, but had no chance of the Haaland penalty, and that put Man City 1-0 up. And I'm fearing the worst, obviously, at that point. You're playing against the best team in the world. They're 1-0 up, a penalty that a lot of Chelsea fans in the stadium felt a little bit aggrieved by. And, you know, Man City can hurt you in a multitude of ways. But Chelsea kept their cool and equalised through a Thiago Silva header. A corner comes in, I think it was from Conor Gallagher. Thiago Silva at the near post beats his man, and the ball beats Ederson. Again, Chelsea don't score many goals, and so when we're scoring a goal that looks like it's been worked on the training ground, I was very, very happy. And I think it was justified for our performance in the first half. Thiago Silva getting that goal. The Man City defender lost him, and he managed to make space for himself in the box, and the glance header beat Ederson, and Chelsea equalised. And like I said, I feel it was very, very justified. Chelsea then go 2-1 up. I was an absolute dreamland. A low cross from Reece James, Raheem Sterling against his former side at the back stick. You saw him score many goals like that for Man City back in the day. And again, people want to criticise Raheem Sterling. He's a player who's got something to prove. He hasn't been selected for the last few England squads. I don't understand why. Again, let me know in the comments below if you think that Raheem Sterling should be a player that Gareth Southgate should be selecting for his England squads. He gives you numbers. Somebody gives you numbers, and he produces on the highest level, and he showed again why he is, when he selected it, one of England's most important players. He puts Chelsea 2-1 up. Reece James the assist, and again, you see the difference in this Chelsea team when Reece James is playing. The game just comes to him. He doesn't go and chase anything. He doesn't seem to be playing out of himself. He's just so composed and so deliberate with all of his actions. And Reece James playing as our right back makes a huge difference. And I think we notice a difference in quality, not to slander Malo Gusto, but when Reece James comes off in the second half, you notice that drop in quality because he is, on his day, when he's fit, one of the best right backs in the world. But Chelsea go 2-1 up. we couldn't hold the lead. We were a few minutes away from half time and Man City equalised a deep Bernardo Silva cross to an unmarked Akanji in the box. And I think when there's an unmarked man in the box, you're always looking for someone to blame, but there wasn't really anyone to blame there in terms of somebody picking Akanji up. It was just a brilliant cross from Bernardo Silva, who's one of the best players in the world, and Akanji with a firm header to beat Robert Sanchez. And we go into the break 2-2, and again, on the balance of play, it's probably a fair result. As a Chelsea fan, you take that, especially if someone gave it to you at the beginning of the game, going in level against Man City, a Man City side that we haven't beaten since, I think, when we beat them in the Champions League final, which is a couple of years ago now. And so you take that going into half-time, despite the fact that we would have liked to keep the lead going into the break, and come out of the break, and it's the worst possible start to the second half. Haaland turns Caicedo in the middle of the pitch. Caicedo, I do really, really rate him as a player, and hopefully he comes into his own. But the partnership of Caicedo and Fernandes wasn't really working. I don't know if Enzo, who came off later on, was carrying the knock, but he didn't look his exhilarating self. And Caicedo, there was a few instances where I feel like he could have given Chelsea a bit more control in the game. But he gets turned by Haaland in the box, who lays off to a Man City player. They break. And then Julian Alvarez, who's a player that I just love. He's so fucking decent. I swore there. He's so technically brilliant. And he gets the ball, he crosses it into the box, and Haaland bundles it in. There was a VAR check for a potential Haaland handball on the line. It would have been absolutely ridiculous if they would have given it. The ball's kind of trailing Haaland as he bundles it into the box. It hits his elbow and they check it. Obviously, as a Chelsea fan, I'm hoping they rule it off, but it would have been so anti-football if they did. Again, check my video out for why I think they should get rid of VAR. It's essentially anti-football. If you're looking at all goals that go in and try to find reasons to disallow it, it's not what the game's about. But that puts Man City 3-2 up, and that was literally a minute into the second half, and Chelsea look like they're struggling. Cole Palmer then later on in the half has a chance where he dribbles through a few Man City men. Ruben Diaz gets a crucial shove on the back. It's not enough to be a penalty, but he puts Cole Palmer off, and the shot is saved by Ederson. Cole Palmer maybe could have dinked it, but off balance, it was a great chance that he fashioned for himself where he's dribbling through men, and unfortunately couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Still 3-2 at this stage. Then Chelsea equalise. Conor Gallagher with a long-range shot. Nicholas Jackson follows up, a man who scored a hat-trick last week. A man, people were saying, worst hat-trick in Premier League history, but on the face of it, 4 goals in the last 2 games against, Man City and Spurs. You take that all day long. I think that takes him now to 6 league goals this season, which is not a bad return from a striker who's playing his first season in the Premier League. And follows up from Gallagher's shot. It's a nice first touch, and he puts the ball past Ederson. Ederson probably should have done better in terms of save, but again, as a Chelsea fan, I'm just happy to see Nicholas Jackson getting on the score sheet regularly, and hopefully this boosts his confidence. There's a lot of chatter about Chelsea, whether they should bring in a striker, whether they should bolster that attacking line. But if Nicholas Jackson is scoring goals and he can prove to be that double-figure striker for Chelsea, then I'm hoping he can be the solution to our problems, because we've scored 4 goals against the best team in the world, and our issue has been putting the ball in the back of the net regularly. But if our striker can give us those kind of returns, especially against the best teams in the country, then there's no reason why Nicholas Jackson can't be that man for Chelsea. 3-3, Malo Gusto has a glorious chance. The ball breaks to him on the right-hand side. He goes with his left foot and it just skies it. He's leaning back. I don't know, really. I think he's caught between 2 minds, or caught in 2 minds, whether to try and slot it past the keeper or go with power. He does neither. Ball goes over the bar. And at that moment in time, I'm thinking Man City are probably going to get another chance here and potentially win this game, because when you get those gilt-edged chances against one of those best teams in the world, you've got to be putting it away. And that chance came to Rodri, who always seems to be in the right areas, always in and around the outside of the box for Man City. He seems to get long-range goals all the time. This goal came via a deflection off of Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva had another great game, but this was a lazy leg, as described by Jamie Carragher in commentary. The ball's going on target, but I think Robert Sanchez saves it if it does go on target, but it hits Thiago Silva's leg and goes in. And at that point, I'm fearing the worst. Man City get a late goal. Rodri goes off sliding on his knees, and I'm thinking, valiant effort from Chelsea here, but they're not going to end up with any points from a game which I think they deserved at least a point from. But nah. A man I think deserves so much credit, Raheem Sterling, who has got the bit between his teeth. The Chelsea are breaking. He plays a brilliant ball into Armando Broja, who's come off the bench. Broja brings the ball down, kind of fakes a shot, and is taken out by Ruben Diaz. Clear penalty. And guess who steps up for it? Cole Palmer, academy graduate from Man City, a man Man City fans know very, very well. His whole family is City fans. And there's about 2 minutes between when the penalty is given and when Cole Palmer steps up to take it. A lot of time for City players to scuff up the penalty spot, for a lot of time for City players to try and distract Cole Palmer. And eventually when the melee dies down, Cole Palmer steps up for the penalty and he slots it to the goalkeeper's right. Ederson's got no chance, and Chelsea draw the game 4-4. That goal was in the 95th minute, I think it was, and Chelsea take a point away from what was another thrilling game. There's so many standout players in this one. I thought Conor Gallagher played very well. His pressing is just something to behold. The man can run for 90 minutes plus, and he does it, and he's now become a leader in this Chelsea side. He starts to press, he initiates it, and everybody follows. Raheem Sterling, the man I've already talked about, got the bit between his teeth. He's the man that gives you numbers. I'm so surprised not to see him in this England squad. But if he carries on playing this way for Chelsea, then there's no way that Gareth Southgate can ignore him for much longer. He's such a good player on his day. And again, playing against his former side, there would have been a lot of pressure. He wants to prove to his former side and Pep Guardiola why he's still a top player. And he did that today. He, up against Kyle Walker, he definitely won his battles. And when he shifted to the other side as well, he was twisting and turning Guardiola, who had a tough day at the office. Reece James, a man who's returned to the first team fold after being off the bench or being out of injury for a long time. Doku was highly touted before this game. He was getting the hype. He was getting the big build up, and Reece James had him in his pocket and didn't let him leave there for 90 minutes or until Doku came off as a sub. You saw him trudging off for Jack Grealish and didn't really do much. Didn't really see him much, and Reece James deserves a lot of credit for that. A man who, when fit, is one of the best right backs in the world. The whole Chelsea team, to a man, just performed so well, and Cole Palmer went away with the Man of the Match award, but you could have given it to any Chelsea player. Cole Palmer's he's coming into his own. The fact that he's 20 odd years old and he's come to Chelsea and he's taken penalties is credit to him and credit to the confidence that he has. You hear him in interviews, you see the way he plays, his demeanour, the celebrations. He's got the dog in him. And Chelsea have got that housey back in them. For a couple of years we were too nice to play against. Our team just felt soft, but now you see it when we're on the front foot and we're fighting for everything. We've got the desire, and I know people don't like it, but we're surrounding the referee and appealing for every decision. I absolutely love to see it. Marc Cucurella exemplified that. A man, again, much maligned when he joined Chelsea or since he's joined Chelsea because of poor performances, but a man who plays on the front foot, and he really set the tempo for the Chelsea side in terms of being aggressive and not letting City breathe. And like I say, it's the City team who are going to be challenging for the Premier League, and this is a City team that are going to be in the latter stages of the Champions League, and Chelsea equipped themselves very, very well, and I think Mauricio Pochettino is showing the levels as a manager. Last season, I don't want to slag off Frank Lampard or Graham Potter, but you're seeing the levels in coaching when it comes to Mauricio Pochettino. We played against Arsenal and he outdid Mikel Arteta. We played against City and he went head-to-head with Pep Guardiola at the beginning of the season against Klopp. Again, changed up his team in his first competitive game as a Chelsea manager. And we've only got players to come back after the international break. When you think about Christopher and Nkunku, we've got Ben Chilwell to still come back into this side. So Chelsea are only going to get better. But what I've seen so far, I'm very, very happy. We need to see us play against a team that plays a low block, though, because that's where we do struggle. When it's a team that's going to play up against us and is not going to play that deep defensive line, Chelsea have joy all day long. But when a team comes to Stamford Bridge to try and stifle Chelsea, we struggle with it, and I'm keen to see what we look like when teams come and do that at the Bridge or when we play away from home. Going into the international break, we're 10th in the Premier League table. We are 10 points off of Spurs, who've dropped down to 4th after their loss against Wolves. And so it's all to play for in the Premier League. I think top 4 or top 5 should still be the aim for Chelsea. There's a long way to go in this season. There's still 26 games to go. A lot of football to be played. I'm just pleased to see some progress from this Chelsea side. And as long as we stick together and we continue to buy into Mauricio Pochettino as a manager in terms of his tactical philosophy, there is no reason why Chelsea can't get to where we need to get to this season. Very, very pleased, very, very happy. I'd love to know what you guys thought of the game. Like I say, refreshing to see a game with no VAR controversy, really. Just a high-intensity, full-blooded, classic heritage Barclays Premier League affair. Like I say, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think Chelsea are back? Do you think Chelsea can go on from here and kickstart the season after a win against Spurs and a draw against City? Love to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you like and comment and subscribing. I'll be back with more videos very, very soon.